Hello everyone, with the Jamaica here, and welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Sunday evening, July 20, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you all like this video. I'd really appreciate it if you all get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video, and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe. Especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you all utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section, but the video description, so that you can skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below, letting me know what the that's been like in your area recently. Also, feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so taking a look at the Atlantic hurricane and tropical storm activity based on data from 1944 to 2020, we are at July 20, so we're somewhere down in here. So we have 10 more days until August, and as you can see, the activity is steadily on the increase in a sense, but we know that we're going to get a crazy increase in terms of the activity across the Atlantic as we head into August, September, and October. So we'll see exactly what unfolds. And even this map right here showing the tropical and subtropical cyclone points of origin based on data from 1851 to 2023. We're looking at all of these yellow dots. All of these yellow dots represent where we've seen tropical storms or subtropical cyclones form during the time period from July 21 to July 31. So today is July 20, so it makes sense that we're showing this map today. And as you can see, we have a lot of activity that usually forms across the main development region. So having that code yellow down there is not foreign at all. We also see a lot of activity across the southwestern Atlantic into the Gulf, and we see a lot of activity as usual across the eastern Pacific, most of which push out towards the west. Let us see if we actually get something to formulate down in here like what the Hurricane Center has highlighted. And even the typical tracks and origins are highlighting the same, somewhere over in here pushing westward into through the Caribbean into the Gulf right here off the Bahamas eastern side and pushing towards the north as usual. And even the sea surface temperature anomalies, the update that came out yesterday, July 19, still showing that we have a lot of very warm ocean temperatures. This is showing the skin of the ocean, and if it's anything of the sort of yellows, oranges, it's way above normal sea surface temperatures for sure, that these tropical systems thrive off of, even though we see a tongue of cooler than average temperatures to the south of Haiti extending down into Colombia, into portions of Venezuela as well. That won't even do much of anything, because as you can see, majority of the area has a lot of above normal sea surface temperatures. And even where we have that system that the Hurricane Center is watching right over here, we have a lot of very warm ocean temperatures to work with. So it's going to be interesting to see how these systems utilize all of the very warm sea surface temperatures. And we even see some very warm, above normal sea surface temperatures in northern portions of the North Atlantic, right here off the east coast of the US, even over here across the northern Pacific. It's very interesting that we have a lot of very warm ocean temperatures up there, 3 to 4, maybe even up to 5 degrees Celsius above normal, as you can see from the key on the bottom. Taking a look at the U.S. National Hurricane Center 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook that came out at 7:17 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, which is actually 6:16 p.m. Jamaica time. We still have that area right here to the east of the island that now has a 20% chance. This morning it went down to 10%, but it's back up to 20%. We can see why right here. All of the clouds, the showers, and the thunderstorms associated with it right here to the northeast of South America. Not looking as robust as it was when it was first tagged, but it's still trying to get its act together. Let us read what the Hurricane Center has stated. No. A small area of low pressure has developed from a tropical wave in the central tropical Atlantic, about 900 miles east-southeast of the Lesser Antilles. Shower and thunderstorm activity has recently become more concentrated near the center, and environmental conditions are generally favorable for some additional development over the next day or so, while the system moves west-northwestward at 10 to 15 miles per hour. By the middle of the week, environmental conditions are forecast to become unfavorable for further development. And we see that they've given the system both a 20% chance of cyclone formation within the next 48 hours, that's next 2 days, as well as within the next 7 days. And we know that if something should form, the next name on the list is Dexter. On the eastern Pacific side of things, we have a brand new area. Well, we've been watching it, and it was tilted and pushing towards the Hawaiian Islands, but now we see that there's a bit of a shift. Basically won't amount to a thing or anything like that. 10% chance yesterday. We even read what the Hurricane Center stated. But the mere fact that it doesn't look like it's going to be affecting Hawaii now, it's not worthy of a read. We can see the clouds, the showers, and the thunderstorms associated with it right here. And we know that if something should form of it, the next name on the list is Gil. On the Joint Typhoon Warning Center, we can see that as it relates to what's happening across the Indian Ocean into the Western Pacific, we can still see that we have a lot of clouds, a lot of monsoon activity still taking place, extending from India all the way over into Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, all the way into China, Vietnam, Taiwan, the Philippines. We even have a code yellow right here to the east of the Philippines. We're still monitoring that tropical storm Wafa right in here. You can see even better the infrared, all of the clouds, showers, and thunderstorms, as Wafa is currently skirting in the southern coast of China, pushing towards Vietnam. A lot of bad weather taking place over there. And we still see that it is expected to continue pushing off towards west-southwest, maintaining intensity, 50 knots, 55 knots, even all the way up to 60 knots. So we know that all of those intensity represents medium range, close to high-end tropical storm status, because we know that tropical storms basically pack anywhere from 34 to 64 knots, as you can see here. So it's continuing to, bring a lot of rainfall to those spots, and we even have a lot of footage here from Volcaholic's Twitter page. It states here, Hong Kong has issued its highest storm warning as Typhoon Wafa brings hurricane force winds and heavy rain. Over 200 flights have been cancelled, and public transport, including ferries, has been suspended. I mean, look at the footage that is coming out. Makes sense. This is a tropical storm. So it comes with the strong winds, it comes with the heavy rainfall for sure. As you can see here, blinding rainfall to the point that you can't even see the other side of this lake. Another video right here stating storm surge in Hong Kong from Typhoon. I wonder why they're calling it a typhoon. It's just a tropical storm. But look at that. We know storm surge has to do with when the sea comes over into the land, as you can see there. We even have another post right here, Typhoon Wafa disrupted travel and daily life across Hong Kong and southern China today, grounding over 400 flights and affecting around 80,000 passengers in Hong Kong alone. Hundreds more flights were delayed in nearby cities. High winds toppled trees, injuring 26 people, and over 250 sought shelter as this storm passed south of the city before making landfall in Guangdong. Look at the footage. This is some crazy footage. People running, the wind so strong that it's carrying you away. This is crazy. Look at that tree pushing in the wind. This system is bad in general, very bad. I have to be wondering if I'm reading it wrong. Is it really a tropical storm? Yes, it is, because look at the knots. It's 55, 50 to almost 60 knots is what's expected, and I didn't see it increase or anything like that. So it is definitely still a tropical storm, not yet a typhoon at all. and it's doing so much damage. Here's another one this morning. Poyan, Tianzi, East Fish Farming Area, Puyan Township, Changhua County, Western Taiwan, near the Tai Strait. And we see it right here. I mean, look at the high waves, definitely damaging that fishing village for sure in Taiwan. And look at this, storm hits Vietnam, 28 dead as boat capsizes in Ha Long Bay. A powerful storm sweep through Vietnam has caused a deadly boat accident in Ha Long Bay. The vessel carrying 48 tourists and 5 crew members capsized amid turbulent conditions. Among those on board were many families from Hanoi, including over 20 children. So far, 12 people have been rescued and 18 bodies have been recovered by border guards. As you can see here, there's the ship that capsized. My goodness, and they even gave an update stating the death toll has risen to 34 after a tourist boat with 53 passengers and crews sank. Well, these things happen with bad weather. We just have to hope for the best. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, you can see broken orange lines right here off the southeast coast of the US associated with that trough that could develop over the next 7 days. Ridge of high pressure to the north that we know is responsible for sending these tropical waves, the easterly trade winds, pushing them from east to west, even the Saharan dust as well. We see the tropical wave and the airflow pressure attached to it pushing towards the west. And another tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before we lost sunlight, we can make out all of these entities. Well, somewhat. The trough is supposedly somewhere in here. Can't really make it out, but and definitely make out that tropical wave to the northeast of South America, that other tropical wave right here to the west of the Cabo Verde Islands. And we see that most, if not all, of these low-level to mid-level clouds are being steered from east to west, all courtesy of the ridge of high pressure to the north. We'll be talking about the rest of the Caribbean today later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Sunday, July 20, 2025. It was stated that rainfall could have been in the forecast parts of central and western parishes on the afternoon of Sunday, July 20. When our central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Our western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, Westmoreland, and St. Elizabeth. And what ended up happening? As early as 8:06 a.m., the visible satellite image was posted right here on our Twitter page with the Jamaica, as well as on our Instagram page with the Jamaica, on our TikTok page with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So at that time, some clouds actually came into portion of northern and eastern parishes, bringing some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers. Then by around 2:35 p.m., the visible satellite image was posted once again. It highlighted some clouds, bringing overcast skies, if not some isolated thunder showers, a section of some northern and western parishes. So areas like Westmoreland, Hanover, section of St. Elizabeth, Trelawney, St. Anne definitely gotten on the isolated thunder shower activity. And we can see that all even better on the visible satellite imagery right here. We saw some activity in St. Andrew pushing into northern St. Catherine, sections of western or southwestern St. Mary, spilling into sections of St. Anne. We also saw that across sections of Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland for sure. And we see the infrared confirming that thunderstorm out west. All of these blues, greens, yellows, oranges, and reds represent that cumulonimbus cloud cover, especially across the western parishes. Even the sparkling white dots, they will now represent some amount of lightning strikes, if not lightning flashes. Definitely saw a lot of that across sections of Westmoreland today. And the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel shows what happened at around 1:40 p.m., showing halfway through sunny conditions, people in their vehicles going about their business. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see more live streams like this, just visit C Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams all for you all to view for free. Subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Even the total accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours The Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website is confirming that rainfall that took place across the kingdom of some northern and western parishes today, as you can see by all of these colors. And we definitely have some comments right here confirming the rainfall. We have Michael Masters 8479 stating heavy rain from morning north St. Catharines. Thanks for confirming. Even on our TikTok page, we had Misha Faces stating Savannah Lamar, we're getting some slight rain. Cherise thunderstorm in Westmoreland. Thanks for confirming. One Ryan that underscore stating raining in Hanover. Lisa underscore Shorty stating got some nice rain in Mobile Place. Cool. We also have on our Facebook page, Simona Parchment stating raining in the Grill. Shawnee Reynolds raining in St. Andrew. Thank you all for confirming what the weather was like in your area for today. Alright, so let us reload the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website. Let's see what's happening now. The latest still image is showing 23:55 UTC, which is actually 6:55 p.m. So this just came out 11 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:06 p.m. right now. As you can see, we still have some leftover clouds across the north and the western ends of the island. All of these blows into the greens, as you can see there. But do we actually have rain bands under these clouds? Let us reload the very latest K-band Doppler radar, the latest Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, and the latest Cayman radar to confirm. Alright, so it looks like the Cayman radar, well, the Cuban radar glitched out at around 4:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Is actually 3:50 p.m. Jamaica time. As you can see, that we saw some rain bands across the western end of the island. In terms of the Guantanamo Bay US Navy radar, not seeing much of anything across southeastern Cuba, but we do see some isolated shores right here across the northwestern peninsula of Haiti. Not really much of anything across Jamaica. The Cayman radar, on the other hand, definitely confirming that rainfall across the western end of the island, so it's definitely coinciding with some of these clouds that we see over there. You also see some rain bands to the west of the Cayman Islands as well. If we take a look at the live camera here from C Jamaica's YouTube channel, showing what's happening around the Bagua Gorge, you can see not much of anything is taking place. Rear Cobra chilling at this time. Should be fair for the most part across the flat bridge. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that about 27 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 28 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Monday, temperatures should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18Z on Monday, which is actually 1 p.m. And we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some yellows that represents at least 1 degree Celsius above normal temperature. I know that normal temperature for the month of July across Jamaica is around 91 degrees Fahrenheit. When that's converted to degrees Celsius that we use here in Jamaica, that's around 32.8 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 32.8 to 33.8 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Monday. And we're grateful that we only have at least one maintenance outage advisor here from my JPS Online Twitter page that we have to highlight. We know that we usually have to highlight these because we know that when we have power outages somewhere across the island, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, please let them know that the power outage is coming their way. On Monday, July 21, 2025, we're referring to McAlpine, or McAlpine, if I'm not butchering that place's name, in Westmoreland from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. Dress down, wear lightweight clothing, and use sunscreen. Check on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions, and pets. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest part of the day. And I cannot stress the importance of keeping hydrated throughout the day. Drink lots of water and put away those sugar drinks and drink water instead. The dry air map still showing the abundance of dry air across the main development region, extending into the Caribbean and into the Gulf. But we're starting to see some breaks in the dry air. We're starting to see more moistening up of the atmosphere, more blues here and there. That's what we definitely want. But look at this. Saharan dust is making a comeback. As you can see, July 21, that's tomorrow, should have Jamaica in the clear. July 22, on the other hand, we see Saharan dust pushing through the Caribbean. Should make its way into the Jamaica area by July 23. We see the greens into the yellows, into the oranges, as you can see here, extending all the way from Africa across the main development region into the Caribbean. Regarding the wave forecast for tomorrow, Still seeing the highest waves to the north of Colombia right here, the dark blues into the purples, that's the 2.5 meter wave height. And that's because of the yellows that we see here to the north of Colombia. That's up to 25 knot winds expected from the east. But tomorrow, regarding Jamaica's wave forecast, 1.3 meter wave height to the south of St. Thomas, to the north of Poland, 0.9 of a meter wave height, to the north of St. Anne, 0.8 of a meter wave height. To the south of Clarendon, 0.6 of a meter wave height. To the south of Westmoreland, 0.6 of a meter wave height. To the north of Hanover, 0.7 of a meter wave height. And that's because of the winds that are expected. To the north of St. Anne, 13 knots. To the south of St. Thomas, 14 knots. 13 knots to the south of Manchester. And we also see where the air is expected to pile up once again across sections of some inland areas of some central parishes and some western parishes for sure. And with the upper level winds coming in from the east tomorrow, it's definitely going to be favoring more of that rainfall out west. Even although the Euro is showing rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes here, I'm more inclined to believe what the GFS is showing. Look at where the blues are that represents rainfall. We're talking about sections of western St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, Westmoreland, northern St. Elizabeth, northern Manchester. The Euro is going bonkers. I don't think this will happen at all, especially for the central and the eastern half of the island. Definitely making more sense on the GFS right here, but who knows, maybe the Euro wins tomorrow. Either way, we can clearly see that both accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement that it's going to be raining somewhere in Jamaica within the next 24 hours. Euro going up to even 0.75 of an inch of rainfall, close to an inch. The GFS only up to at least 0.54 of an inch of rainfall. Whatever happens, we'll definitely take it because we're in the month of July. And in Kingston's bar graph is being shown right here at the top. We usually receive around 50 millimeters of rainfall. In Montego Bay's bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom. We usually receive around 3.2 inches of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives in terms of rainfall for the month of July or for the entire year, you can visit weatherandclimate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so we're going to be looking at what the next 7 days have in store for us, according to the latest Euro and GFS Supercomputer model runs that came out today. So keep your eyes focused on the timestamp right here at the top as we go to the next 168 hours. Keep your eyes focused on Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. That's the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represents inches of rainfall. So let's see what's going to be taking place. So we just looked at Monday's forecast. Now it's time to look at Tuesday onward. So 12 on Tuesday, which is actually 7 a.m. we actually see some greens across the far eastern end of the island. We also see some greens across the waters to the east of the Caribbean. Could be associated with that tropical wave that the Hurricane Center is watching. And then on Tuesday afternoon, look at that rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. We have the same on the GFS, not much of anything for the morning. But Tuesday afternoon, it's mainly central and western parishes with that rainfall. What do we see for Wednesday morning? Wednesday morning, not really seeing much of anything, but look at the moisture across the eastern Caribbean. Wednesday afternoon, eastern, central, western parishes with that rainfall. What do we see for Thursday morning? We see that moisture should be to the south of Hispaniola. Thursday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across the western end of Jamaica. What do we see for Wednesday and Thursday on the GFS? Wednesday morning, maybe some rainfall across the eastern end. Wednesday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across the western end. Thursday morning, the moisture extending from the eastern Caribbean to the south of the Dominican Republic. Maybe some isolated showers for eastern Jamaica. Thursday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes. What do we see for Friday morning? Friday morning, we see some moisture to the south of us, even into eastern Jamaica. Friday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Even on Saturday morning, we're seeing some rainfall extending from the eastern Caribbean to the south of Jamaica into the western Caribbean. And then, on Saturday afternoon, maybe some rainfall across central and western parishes, and we're stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Sunday, July 27. We see some moisture to the north of us. We see a lot of moisture to the south of Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic too. What do we see on the GFS? Friday morning, a lot of moisture extending from the eastern Caribbean to the south of Hispaniola into the western Caribbean. Friday afternoon, rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes. Saturday morning, rainfall across eastern Jamaica. Saturday afternoon, rainfall across western Jamaica. It looked like next week into the weekend is going to be very wet, very interesting. Then we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. I mean, look at the greens. A lot of moisture. It looks like it's going to be a very wet end of July. A lot of moisture extending from the main development region into the Caribbean, into the central, into the western Caribbean. Very interesting. Even the total accumulated precipitation forecast maps are in agreement with this. Look at all of the reds into the purples extending from the eastern Caribbean all the way over, especially across northern South America into Central America as usual, where they're getting the dark reds into the purples and the pinks represents 2 to maybe even up to 5 inches of rainfall. So I know some isolated flash flooding could definitely take place. Either way, in terms of Jamaica total accumulated precipitation, we see the greens into the yellows all across the island from the eastern end to the western end and the Euro. 15 all the way up to 40 millimeters of rainfall at that. The GF is a bit more robust with the rainfall, especially across the northwestern end, Hanover, St. James, maybe up to 60 millimeters of rainfall. Whatever happens, I'll definitely be here to keep you posted if what occurs. Across the rest of the Caribbean, not really seeing much of anything significant at this time. Doppler radar imagery in and around Puerto Rico, not really showing much of anything either. There's some isolated shores to the north and south of Puerto Rico. Barbados radar showing some moisture pushing in from the northeast towards Barbados, maybe towards the other islands as well. The Grenadines getting into some of the action as well. The weather web Doppler radar images right here, showing some isolated shores passing through to the northeast and south of Puerto Rico, some rainfall across northern Guatemala as well. And regarding where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, we can clearly see that there is some amount of rainfall expected to the east of the Bahamas, some rainfall for the Greater Antilles, Cuba, Jamaica, Hispaniola, section of the Cayman Islands, the Yucatan, Belize, section of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Eastern, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guiana. We see some rainfall also expected for the Eastern Caribbean. We're talking about section of the Leeward Islands into the Windward Islands. And we can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS mods are in agreement with this forecast. I know that when they're in agreement like this, the chances are higher for it to actually take place. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.